Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Steve, and today we're talking about my latest watch purchase, the Rangemaster II. Now, this is a collaboration between Long Island Watch and the Urban Gentry, so I was excited to see another version of the Rangemaster series come out. I didn't purchase either of the other two collaboration watches they released, but when I saw this case design, I knew that I wanted to add it to the collection because it's a case design that you don't usually see. It's something that's very unique out in the world, and it actually reminded me of my Metal Gear Solid 5 watch, and we'll get into that a little bit later. If you haven't done so already, please hit the like and subscribe buttons down below. It really does help the channel. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the specs of the Rangemaster II. Now, getting accurate measurements of the Rangemaster II is a little bit difficult, so I'll try the best as I can, but we have a case diameter of 43.5 millimeters. That includes the crown guards and that wing on the left side of the watch. A lug-to-lug on the case of the watch at 45.3 millimeters. It is about 53.5 millimeters to the first end link. The thickness is around 13.8 millimeters, and it weighs in at 196 grams on the bracelet, 128 grams on the rubber strap, and the weight with the strap adapters is going to vary depending on the strap that you use, but it's going to be similar to that rubber strap. It comes with 150 meters of water resistance, sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating underneath. The movement is a Miyota 9075 Traveler GMT, so the main hour hand is the one that's going to jump back and forth, and my watch is running around plus 6 seconds per day. This watch retails for $695. Now, like I said, the case design is something that's very uncommon. You're not going to see it very often, and it reminds me of my Metal Gear Solid 5 watch because that watch is also futuristic, yet retro at the same time. The Rangemaster II is what I would imagine Snake would wear in the game. If quartz technology wasn't invented, I could definitely see Snake wearing something similar to this watch. So first, let's take a closer look on that dial layout. And this is something that is much more complicated the closer you look into it, so it's actually very cool. We have these floating indices, and the indices themselves are actually staggered. So for example, the hour indices are placed slightly lower than the 12, 3, 6, and 9 indices, which gives it a more dynamic look. There are also hash marks in between the hour indices that are placed a little bit higher. At the top, we have a triangular indice and Arabic numerals at the 3, 6, and 9 position. And all of the hour indices are actually placed on a plate above the main dial. On the main dial, we have the Long Island logo at the top, RM2 at the bottom in orange, and Islander written underneath that. Between the 4 and 5 o'clock indices, we have a bordered date window with a color-matched black date wheel. We have a spear hour hand, a sword minute hand, and an arrow GMT hand. The seconds hand has a trapezoid-shaped lollipop with an orange tip at the end. The bezel is stainless steel and fixed. It does not rotate. And at the top, we have a 00 instead of your traditional 2400 hours. The case itself is very angular with a good combination of brushed and polished surfaces. The lugs on the top and sides of the case have been skeletonized, which gives it a unique look that you don't really see all that often. We have integrated crown guards that protect the 7.3 millimeter crown, and to give it some sort of symmetry, there is a wing on the left side of the watch that doesn't serve a function aside from balancing out the symmetry of the watch. Now, this watch doesn't have traditional spring bars, so in order to change out the bracelet and add on the rubber strap or the strap adapters, you have to manipulate the 4 hex screws on the top and bottom of the case. The screw-down crown is polished and comes engraved with the Long Island logo. Moving down to the bracelet, we have these chunky links that taper from 24.5 millimeters down to 17.5 millimeters at the clasp. The clasp does bump up to about 20 millimeters and it has the word Islander on the fold-over portion of the clasp. This is your standard dual-button deploying clasp that comes with 6 points of micro adjustment, and embossed on the case back is the Gentry Labs logo. The Rangemaster II is also limited to 500 pieces. Now, in addition to the stainless steel bracelet, there is a rubber strap option that comes with the same deploying clasp, and also 2 integrated strap adapter end links, which gives you the ability to wear your Rangemaster on any 20 millimeter strap. So let's talk about the pros and cons of the Rangemaster II before I give you guys my final thoughts. And we'll start off with the cons, and the first con is going to be, this isn't my first Rangemaster II. I actually had to send my initial one back to Long Island Watch. The issue with the first watch is that one of the hex screws somehow got stuck when I put it on the rubber strap. And I don't know if it was an issue on my end, if I cross-threaded something, or if the machining on the screws or on the case wasn't up to par. But there was a point where the screw wouldn't come loose and the screw head started to round out. But I will say Mark answered my email immediately and the very next day sent me a replacement watch. So kudos to him on that one. The next con I have is with the clasp. And there's nothing wrong with the clasp itself. But if you look at the Rangemaster II design, from the watch to the adapters down to the box and packaging, everything seemed like it was under a design microscope until the clasp, where they just reached into the bin and put a generic clasp on the bracelet. And to be fair, you're probably going to operate the clasp more than you are the crown itself. So to have the design of the clasp be overlooked in that way is just a slight negative. And the last con I can see, and it's not necessarily for me, but some out there might think this watch is a little bit too chunky, a little too bulky. I like the chunky, bulky, futuristic vibe of this watch, so I do appreciate that. Some of you may like a slimmer watch or have smaller wrists, so this watch may be a little bit too bulky for you. For me, I actually like it. I like having a little bit of heft on my wrist, especially when it's going to be my everyday piece. I actually like having a little bit of heft on my wrist, but I can see where it could be a negative. So that's enough of the cons. Let's move on over to the pros, and the first pro is going to be that case design. It is one of the most uncommon case designs I've ever seen, and the only company that I know of that has a similar case design is going to be Linde Verdelin. So Islander and the Urban Gentry have brought a luxury case design into the entry-level market. You don't see a case design like this normally, and if you were to see a case design like this, it is to a $10,000+ watch. So I think it's a win-win situation all around. But the Rangemaster II goes a step further. It skeletonizes the lugs. It gives it those more reflective surfaces, that more complex case design. It's a great looking case and also unique enough to where it's going to catch people's eyes. It may be a good conversation starter. If you find a watch enthusiast out in the wild, they see what's on your wrist, maybe they still want to strike up a conversation with you just because how uncommon it actually is. The next pro is going to be that dial, and this is the perfect combination between a Rolex Explorer, a Rolex Explorer 2, and the Metal Gear Solid 5 watch. And I say that in all the most positive ways. My Metal Gear Solid watch is probably my favorite watch in my collection. I think it's one of the most unique case designs out there, unique dials, unique story, and I can definitely see the Rangemaster II being Snake's watch. I know I've said it before, but this is going to be the watch Snake would wear if quartz watches weren't invented. We have the 3, 6, and 9 layout. We have the Rolex Explorer 2 GMT functions. I think it looks great, especially with those layered indices, the 3, 6, and 9 with the triangle at the 12 o'clock. And then outside the dial, you have that fixed stainless steel bezel with the double zeros at the top, which gives the bezel its own unique identity and not just a Rolex Explorer 2 ripoff. And speaking of surprises on the bezel, I did not know that the bezel was lumed. Did not realize that. I set up my Lume Shot, turned off the lights. Oh my God, lumed bezel. It's a small detail, but once again, it surprised me when I saw it. And my last pro is going to be literally the entire package itself. They give you everything that you could want. You don't want the stainless steel strap? Here's an integrated rubber strap. Oh, you have a drawer full of 20mm straps that you wish you could use? Here's a strap adapter that you can put on. Here's your hex screwdriver. Here's your flathead screwdriver. Here is your rubber case protector so you can change out those straps with ease. They give you everything. It's also limited to 500 pieces. You have a 1-year warranty. Even the box art itself is customized. They put in so much thought into this watch. I wish other watch brands, other micro brands would put in this much thought, this much attention to detail to their watches. But for sub $700, you have one of the most thoroughly designed watches available. Aside from the clasp, okay, I'll give you the clasp, but everything else in this packaging has been thoroughly designed, thoroughly thought out. Details like this really makes you feel like they're actually listening to you as a consumer and not just another mindless customer willing to drop $500, $600, $700 on a watch. So there it is, the Rangemaster II. Look at this chunky boy. I love it. It reminds me of me because I'm a chunky boy myself. This is one of the most unique designs in my collection. I wouldn't say most unique because I think that goes to my Metal Gear Solid 5 watch. But if there was a mechanical version, it would definitely be the Rangemaster II. I love these things. These things are amazing. I love watches. In the comment section, let me know your thoughts on the Rangemaster II. Do you like the black dial version? Do you like the white dial version? Or are you indifferent on the matter? Also, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and do all the rest of the YouTube algorithm stuff that they really enjoy. And if you're still here, go ahead and watch what? My Metal Gear Solid 5 review. It's an old review, but you'll see some progress that I've made in my YouTube journey. Go ahead, click right here. Metal Gear Solid 5 watch. Awesome, awesome piece. Go ahead, click right here. Click it. Click it now.